So we are thrilled to have Kyle Scott Lee with us today. Kyle is a ceramic artist who just relocated to Rochester from Brooklyn. He was a founding member of Brooklyn Clay and has studied ceramics in multiple studios throughout Manhattan and Brooklyn, and taught over the years at Educational Alliance Art School and at Gasworks NYC. Kyle's vessels and cups provide the canvas for his unique and colorful hand painting and abstract surface treatments. His work has been exhibited in solo and group gallery exhibitions throughout the U.S. and abroad. Kyle is currently creating work for West Elm and Paul Smith Design Shop and Gallery. So join me in welcoming Kyle to tell himself.
Thank you guys. Again, I'm Kyle Scott Lee, and I just relocated to Rochester. And I'm trying to get my studio up and running. So anybody that wants to help lift stuff, you can come on over. I'm getting close though. I'm getting close to getting the studio up and running. I got all the shelving up in the basement. It's gonna be a big change for me because it's a basement studio. And my studio in Brooklyn was sunlight and big windows and lots of space and double the price. But I'm happy to be here, and if you have any suggestions, for me as to clay things, restaurants, anything like that, I'm all ears. But for today, I want to talk about my ceramic process. It all began many years ago when I started decorating with wax resist. And I don't have any of those original pieces here with me today, so I could show you the evolution of it, but I'm going to talk about my new process, or it's not new anymore, but the process of vinyl resist. I use vinyl. I brought my vinyl cutter. I'll show you how that works. I'm going to go over the software and show you how that translates into the vinyl sheets that I cut. And I'll talk about, I did like a little mise en place thing with my process to show you exactly the transition that the pieces go through. All right, so I'm going to start with that. So originally, I was not a potter. I've been doing ceramics now for 20 years, but I was not a potter before. I was a painter. So my experience of painting on canvas was gessoing a canvas and then putting on the color, right? So the first thing that I do, I'm going to step in front of you, I'm sorry, is I gesso the piece all in white, right? This is my base, and I spray white, and I spray everything. So I spray white on my pieces, inside and outside, so that the color that sits on top pops at the very end when there's glaze applied to it. All right. The next is the next color. Red. This is number 2. Yes. I spray the red on. All right. I have this, I don't, addiction to color, if you want to call it that. And so I use a little mini spray gun like this. You guys have probably seen the bigger ones, but this little baby does it all for me. So I'll use that to spray on, and I'm able to actually, the spray is so fine that I'm able to overlap the colors and create new colors where they overlap. All right. The next one is the yellow. I spray the yellow on, and you can see where the yellow is hitting the red, it turns a little orange there. All right. I did these all in Brooklyn, but the very last one, I didn't have enough of these. So you're going to see something that's completely different. All right. Next color is orange. So I'll spray the orange on top. On top of the yellow, you'll get, you know, like a little kind of, oh, I don't know, whatever color orange and yellow turn into. Jello. Green then gets sprayed on it. And this becomes like a little rainbow type of ending to the piece. Finally, or not finally, there's a little turquoise. All right? You get turquoise on top, you get a little green that pops out on the yellow, you get a little purple that pops out on the red and the orange. I was having fun doing these like little things. All right. Once I have all my colors on, I then apply stencils, vinyl stencils. Now here's how I found this process. I went to Watershed, if any of you know Watershed, and I was doing the wax resist decoration back then, and I went to Watershed for a 2-week residency, and somebody brought one of these vinyl cutters, and I was like looking for a way to kind of clean up my lines, and I still like the organic design that comes with wax resist, but I wanted to really clean things up and be able to use more shapes and stuff like that on my work. And as soon as I saw that, I was on Amazon, purchase, and by the time I got home, I had it at home, ready to, you know, start the adventure, right? So I add the vinyl shapes on. These just happen to be leaves. Okay, and I apply them all by hand, individually. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but once you start doing it, it goes really fast. And I can start this at 9 o'clock in the morning and then look up and it's 5 o'clock in the evening. Not just one, I mean a bunch, a bunch of them. This process is really great for a lot of things, and there's so much flexibility that you can have with it. If you're working on slabs, you can take a whole vinyl sheet and lay it down on your slab, throw color on it, and then peel it back off. These will get pulled back off. I use a weeding tool in order to do that. Just like a little knife and needle tool that you peel them off. But before I peel them off, I spray the whole thing in black, and then I peel the vinyl off, showing the color underneath. All right? A lot of times before I was actually venturing into different shapes like this, they were just circles and dots and squares and things like that, and it looked like netting on the pieces, right? And that's what I called it. I called it netting, and that was fine, but I needed something more. I needed to visit other shapes and different things like that. And here's where I fell short. I forgot to make a last one, so I have a yellow one that kind of stands out there. But this is one that's finished. The process is all of this, add the color on, bisque fire it, add the vinyl to the bisque fired piece, spray the black on, bisque fire it again. And the reason that I do that is because the vinyl has adhesive on the back, and I've run into the problem of that adhesive resisting the glaze that I put on afterwards. So I do a double bisque fire, and then I put a clear transparent glaze on, and that's the final product. Now you can see the size difference, of course. That's what happens. Let me see what else. Oh, so here are a couple other samples of different shapes, and you guys can pass them around if you like.
So the vinyl just kind of burns away.
No, I peel the vinyl off. Yeah. No, don't ever fire vinyl.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I decided one day I was going to get lazy and I didn't want to do all this work. And I put it in the kiln and I had to leave the studio because my eyes were burning. It's really toxic. Yeah, so I made the mistake. This is another mid-century modern design. This one is one of the first ones that I did, and I just had these like little ovals with holes in them. And then I did a wood fire, my very first one last year in Georgia, and I don't know if I'm gonna do one again. I might drop work off for one, but you know, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work stoking the kiln with wood, and yeah, I might be a little too old for that now. But anyhow, this is a wood-fired piece that I used the vinyl on and then just dipped it in glaze. And so you guys can feel the difference in texture. These don't have so much of a texture on them, but in the wood fire, they do. All right, do I have any questions so far? Yes.
What temperatures is this required to?
I base fire at 06, and then and then high fire at 6. Yeah.
Are you using underglazes control?
I am using underglazes. I use Amico Velvet series underglazes. I've tried other ones. I've tried, what are the other ones? The other ones. And, and it just didn't do it for me. Some of them are like a little too thick and you have to really measure out the consistency. The one thing that I don't like is watering down underglazes. When you put the vinyl on and you're spraying that black over top, you don't want it to drip down because those drips actually present at the end at the glaze fire. So you don't want to see those drips coming down off on your work. So leave your underglazes thick, and that way they just sit right on top of the vinyl and they dry that way, right? There is so many other things that you can do, and different color variations too. I just happen to go for black on top as the final color because it's easier, and two, not every color sits well on top of others. As I was saying, if you're working on slab, it's really, really fun to just take a whole sheet. These are the vinyl sheets right here. They come in packs of 70, I think, like that. All different colors. The colors mean nothing, but it's cool to have it. The colors mean something to me, because when I'm applying them, well, that's a poor representation, but when I'm applying them, I like to have one row of red, you know, on 4 sides and then a different color, you know, so I can see what I'm layering on, all right? And this is a cut vinyl sheet. You guys can take a look at that, peel it apart, have fun with it. Thank you. Cool, thanks. All right, I mentioned don't water down your underglazes. And there's, you know, I only use Amico. Amico seems to work for me. Was there another question? No? Okay. Now, this is the vinyl cutter here. It's a cameo silhouette. It's kind of like a Cricut, but I guess it's a step up. I bought this one, I take this one, I travel with it, I do workshops with it, but I also got addicted to it. So I went and bought 2 more. Still brand new in the box, but one is red and one is white, and I just had to have all the colors. But you know, this one, I've had this for almost over 5 years, and it's never failed me. They have a cartridge to it. This is like a little knife. That's the cartridge there. And I'll go into more detail about that. But this is, you know, I've had this for a long time. The other ones are, because I travel with this, the other ones are actually, well, what if this breaks down? Then I have a backup, right? I'll show you how this prints at the very end, okay? So there's software that comes with this. And, oh, yes, and it's up here. I just did a bunch of circles as kind of like something simple. You can open up the software. Let me just open up something else. So a new one. These are 12 by 12 sheets. So the one thing that I learned is don't print to 12 by 12. You print to 12 by 11. Because once you have 12 by 12 in the cutter, it'll go to the very end of the sheet and then get stuck, right? So I just take it to 11. You can see here, this is the 12 on the, can you see that? Yeah. So I just take it to 11 and I print to that point on the page. All right. This is my page setup. I can do a lot of different things. There's all these different panels that you can use. The software is kind of crazy. And not only are you able to print vinyl, but I have transfer tape that I can lay the vinyl on. Say I want all those circles, but I don't want them, and I want to put it on the slab, but I don't want to do it in the positive. I'm going to do it in the negative. So I will put transfer tape on and then peel that all away. And the circles are attached to the transfer tape. And then I can lay it down, right? That's great for slabs. For rounded pieces, not so good. And I am not like a CAD guy and can design all of that kind of stuff, even though I do, unfortunately, work in IT as well during the day. So I also work as an IT director for a healthcare company that's the largest healthcare company in New York City. And I'm looking for options out. So, because it is not where I want to be anymore. So here in the software, you can identify where you're printing on the page. You can identify how hard the force that the little knife tool is pushing down, how fast. I'll show you all of that. Let's go to it. So you can adjust you're telling it, it's telling you this is a 12 by 12 printer, right? But I've adjusted it so that it prints at 11 at the very end, all right? So I'm gonna make my design, and I can just take anything. I can say, okay, well, let's take this oval. It wants to be a little slow today. Come on. Oval. Why isn't it doing it? Okay, screw that.
Always happens in demos.
Yeah. All right, so we'll use this. I've already done the circles. Okay, you guys can see that? Okay. All right, so from the panels that I have up here, I can say, how do I want to actually see what I'm doing? These little red lines don't, it's not enough for me. So I'll go to fill color, open that panel. And then it'll embarrass me by not doing it. Let's see. Look, what the hell is that?
That's that oval from the.
It's that oval, yeah. I mean, like, now I tested all of this at home,
Of course.
and it didn't do any of this, but now it seems it wants to. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's go back to panels, fill color, and then I can fill these in. So now it's more visible and easier for me to see what I'm doing. When I come around to the printer, I wanted you guys to see how it gets loaded. So I just line it up with these lines that are here and feed it right through, okay? And I'll print it in a minute because it makes noise, but it sounds kind of cool. Technology is amazing. All right, so like I said, I'll peel these off and I'll apply them by hand, individually. If there's any way that I can get away with cutting a strip and applying it, I'll do that. But also think about your shapes when you're doing this. These round circles work great on flat surfaces, but something on a curve, they don't sit perfectly. So you have to take a rib and like really kind of coax it on there. And the one other thing that I found out is that the white underglaze, it's crazy. There's something else in the white underglaze that has an extra gluey factor to it. And that gluey factor means that these are difficult to get off. Once you spray color on top of them, they come right off really easy. But on top of the white, I've tried to talk to Amico about what is going on here. They talk to me like I'm a child. But also, I changed the black that I use. I was using jet black Amico underglaze, and I noticed that every time when I was doing this process, I would get pinholing and different like little explosions that were happening. It was the weirdest thing. So I switched to velour, problem solved, right? I guess just the chemical makeup in them is different. So, you just have to test and experiment and make those changes. Circles. So I had these kind of paint swipes that I used, and they were open-ended, right? But they were still circles. They fit perfectly on pieces that are curved because they're still open and they won't buckle. I don't have examples. Oh, you know what? I can pull some up actually. So let me show you how this prints. You guys will be like, oh my God, how do you do this all day? You go to the send button here. And this is the first one that I bought, does not have Bluetooth. So I have to actually connect it. But I have the red one up here, which does have Bluetooth. And so I don't have to wire connect it. But this is the one. Go to standard, and it shows you all of the different variations of how you can print. The force means how much force is being put down, the blade is being put down on the vinyl. All right? The passes are how many passes is it going to make as it's cutting. All right? The speed is important because if you're going too slow, the blade may catch on the vinyl, or if you're going too fast, it may not cut the vinyl completely, right? And the blade depth. How far down is the blade? And it's like millimeters or whatever. And I have this sitting at 3. I don't know who did that. So, and then you can change, you can customize, you can add your own. You can say, I'm cutting vinyl, or you can heat transfer paper to make t-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff. You can cut balsa wood and plastic stencils. I know the person that that showed me this whole setup, she cuts on very thin tar paper and then makes stencils out of that. And what she does is she will project a set of leaves on a wall and outline them and then bring them into the program and then make the stencils that way. You can do anything you want, really. You can get very intricate into, let's see if I can find one. Let's go with these leaves that I have on these. So you can see they're still like rough on the edges. This takes forever to print because it's got to it literally cuts all the edges as it sees it. And it takes hours, not really. Well, it takes an hour. But imagine printing 50 sheets of this, all right? So you're sitting there and sometimes I just have to get up and leave because it's just, the noise is just crazy.
Does it automatically feed more sheets, or do you have to?
No, I have to feed each individual sheet. This is because they do make this in rolls. And that's a great question because it segues into something else. So the rolls, you can get rolls of vinyl, you can put it in, but ultimately it starts drifting off to the side and doesn't really work really well. When I first started this process, I was like, hey, any kind of vinyl works. No. So there's 2 kinds of vinyl. Permanent vinyl and removable vinyl. Guess which one I started out with? So, permanent vinyl. I'm working and putting them on the pieces and I'm like, this isn't coming off. And next thing I know, I'm taking the weeding tool and I'm scratching the whole piece. So it didn't work very well.
Can you reuse vinyl at all?
You cannot reuse it. Once you peel it off, it's done.
Every piece.
Huh?
New vinyl for every piece.
New vinyl for every piece, yeah. You can't reuse any of it, no matter how you're using it. It's done. You're using stencils, making plastic stencils with this, totally reusable. But, and same thing with tar paper. You can reuse that. This will cut balsa wood, like thin balsa wood. Fabric, it'll cut fabric. Now, depending on what you're cutting, determines the life of your blade on the cutter. So the harder and thicker, the more that it's cutting, It'll last. It won't last you as long. So I always have new blades.
Is the reason why you can't reuse them is the adhesive?
The adhesive and they're basically, they curl up and they're just, there's a little compartment here. I keep my new blades in here. Didn't know it had a secret compartment, did you? I'm like Batman. What's that? It's like a little X-Acto blade. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if I want to print this, and why not? I'm going to go to the send area here. I'll get back to the printer, up to standard. Let's move this over so you can see it. This program is a total memory hog, and so it moves really slow, kind of slows me down. But then again, this computer's from 2009, so yeah. So I have a new computer at home, but all right, so this is at vinyl matte 1. It's matte vinyl. So I've created this program, and I said that this program is a force of 5, a speed of 10, only 1 pass, and the blade depth is 2. All right, so you ready?
You're on the red printer, the Canyon red.
Oh, I don't think it'll matter. We'll find out in a minute. No, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna stop it because it's not. It'll print for like 30 minutes.
Did it take experimentation to understand how many passes and depth?
Of course, yeah.
So they're not automated. If you're using vinyl, you should use this level of depth or this many passes or whatever. That's not an automated.
It's not an automated thing. No, you have to experiment with it. You have to know like what you're cutting. When the blade starts to get dull, you'll have to adjust. It's a little tricky. The blade gets dull, you'll have to add more force to when you're cutting. I used to cut at a very slow speed just because I thought, well, it'll cut better. That's not the case. So so I was like taking all this time to cut these vinyl sheets because I was cutting it at a slow speed. And then I was doing a workshop one time and I was like, I need to speed this up. So I put it on 10 and let it rip, and it cut just the same. Yeah, so it's all experimentation. And that's the best part of it, is that you're experimenting. I'm experimenting with all different shapes. And some of them are really intricate. So when there's an intricate shape, I mentioned the transfer tape, you'll lay your vinyl on the transfer tape, and then you might have to pick all the little details away in order to make it a valid design, right? So it's, no matter what you're doing, it takes time. But I really wish I was a hand builder and working with slabs. It would really be so much easier to do that. A lot of people that are doing this are doing slab work. I just happen to not be doing that. Any other questions? I just go for it. So I don't even measure anything. I eyeball everything. And so I've just gotten good at it. I've gotten good at lining things up. And then, once I have one side lined up, I may take a pencil on the top and mark it for the other side to line it up as I go down. But it's pretty much all eyeball. And I don't measure anything or map out any design. But the one thing that I do have to do is if it doesn't fit, I have to change the size. And then like ovals, if I want an oval the whole length, it might be too long. So I'll have to go back and change the size. That makes it wider, so I'll have to shrink it down. And it's experimenting with the shapes, yeah.
That was gonna be my question too, because it seems like there has to be a lot of math involved, because they all are just perfect all the way around.
There's no math.
I love that.
There's no math. There's no math. No.
Always the answer.
And the one thing that I found is that when you're doing this, clustering the design on the piece, if it's very spread out, it doesn't work the same. Clustering pieces, say I have these leaves on here and there's open space. Well, now I'm gonna make smaller leaves to fit in those open spaces, right? So clustering them gives it more of an effect than something that is spread out. And when I teach my workshops, I always tell people, just don't worry about trying to, just lay pieces on. Lay them on and then fill them in, all right? That's the best way to make it work. Just because all the leaves are going in one direction doesn't mean that they all have to. So you can have leaves that are from point A to point B and then down below, point B to point A. So they don't have to, nothing is, think outside of the box is the message, right? Think outside of the box, use different shapes, experiment. Don't use rectangles on rounded surfaces. It doesn't work, it doesn't fit, unless they're really big pots. Yeah. So, any other questions?
The amicable underglazes, you just put them in as is in a little spray?
I put them in this, yep, I put them in the spray gun. And if they're too thick, they go right into this little spray gun. And I have a compressor at home too for this. But if they're too thick, then you might want to water it down just like slightly. But most of them will go through the spray gun here, and the spray is really fine. It's really nice. When I'm spraying, you can see the insides are also that spray. And then when the black is sprayed on, it's not inside, right? This spray gun allows me to angle upward when I'm spraying the black to really keep the color, that black, from getting on the inside. I like that. I think a lot of people like seeing the color on the inside and not the black. Same with this, yellow inside and then the black is on the outside.
Does it stay connected to like the air compressor when you use it?
Oh, it's connected to the air compressor, yeah. I mean, I have like this giant air compressor, yeah, because I use it all the time. So it's something that I had to buy because I spray everything I do. Even the white, when I have multiple pieces, I don't want like to just spray one at a time. So I have the big spray gun, and I just fill that with white underglaze, and I'll just go for it and spray like I can do like 50 pieces, a day. I may come out with underglaze all over my face, It's I've come home and I've gotten in the shower and my shower floor is black because I'm spraying black underglaze all day. And the shower floor is not, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. I used to work with brown clay and wonder, why is my shower brown? And But I figured it out real quick. Other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. I have one of the Cricut, the other machines.
You got one of the other ones?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And but I have some paper and stuff, but I've done with some vinyl. But I do like this because that machine, you put in your designs and sometimes it just remaps them to new places on the piece.
Yeah, this has its own file folder. So, and actually the program itself has like a cloud where you can save all your images.
Oh yeah.
And also I can go on the internet and I can find any shape that I want. And then, most shapes have a background to it, like a white background. You can actually trace away your shape away from the background and put it on a transparent background in the program here, and then use that to print on. What's so funny?
I put a bunch of your stickers on there.
Oh, you put them where? Oh. Did you write something like "kick me" or something? All right, so I'm not going to continue the print here. Do I have any questions about the program and things that you can do in that? There's a lot.
I know, it must have taken
There's a
some
lot.
time.
It's taken time to learn it. I haven't even touched it, really.
Right.
I touched it with vinyl. That's it. And I've done some plastic stencils. But there are so many different, I've I'm going to make my own t-shirts and stuff like that. And, but you can do heat transfer to make t-shirts with, but you need that little tool to make t-shirts, to actually heat it up and put it on. So not really interested in investing in that. I decided to buy the Jeep instead. Yes.
It's like your mark on the bottom of some of the pieces you pass around. Do you do that in the stencil as well?
That is a rubber stamp with an underglaze stamp pad. You know the Minnesota Potter's stamp pad? Do you know those?
I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I used to use I had a stamp made that was claystamps.com, where they make it out of metal and they put a really beautiful wood handle on and you press it into your piece. And then I found that I get too many cracks that way. So I went rubber stamp pad, underglaze stamp pad, and no more cracks. So that was the end of metal. Yeah. Anyone else? I mean, it's pretty straightforward process until you get to the computer. That's when it gets interesting, depending on what you want to, the type of materials that you want to print, what you want to do with them. I mean, you can print paper, you can do paper on here, you can cut paper and do underglaze transfer, type stuff. You can print paper shapes and then do a resist with paper, right? There's an artist a Canadian artist, Naomi Clement. She uses the same process, but she prints on paper and she takes her paper shapes, she paints them with underglaze and then lays them down on her pieces, paints over top of that, right? And then peels the paper away. And you still get the same kind of thing. You get a color underneath, and she'll make a swipe of white over top of that, and then peel that circle away, for example, to show a red circle of underglaze. So there's a lot of different methods that people are. Okay, there's a ghost in here somewhere. There's a lot of different methods that you can use with this. Cool.
Are you,
Yes.
are you usually printing new designs, or are you, usually using the same, is it like a constant, I'm gonna print this one, print that one?
I'm constantly looking for new designs. Yeah. I'll say, well, first of all, I'm not doing West Elm anymore. So, yeah. And I'm not doing Paul Smith anymore either. Just that was a long time ago. But I'm working with Fair now. Do you know Fair? Faire. It's like an online housewares distributor and wholesale. And it's my first time trying wholesale. I don't know if I like it or not, but I do a lot of this work with slip casting pieces for them. So that's where these are slip casted pieces, right? I love doing this because it's fast production, right? Then there's the other side of me. The other side of me is the painter side, the still that comes out, and I probably have pictures, but I don't know where to find them. I could go to.
Well, what about something like this on your Instagram?
Yes.
Is that paint?
Yes. I was just gonna go to Instagram.
Is that at all vinyl then?
Let's see again.
This piece?
No, that is all painted.
Okay, that's what I figured, okay.
That's all hand painted.
That's great.
All right, so let's see. Where's my profile page? That's not it.
Well, if you go, that might be your story.
That's probably my stories.
If you can go to your story, then you can get to your profile.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna see on my stories.
Right. Yes, I do know.
Yeah, my stories are, my Instagram
Yeah.
is all pottery, but my stories are all political. So, profile.
There you go.
All right, here we
That's
are.
what I was just showing.
Yeah, so I have another side of me that is still the painter. And this stuff I do for galleries. I don't like send any slip casted work out to galleries. That just is kind of creepy to me. This one is coming in November to Blue Spiral Gallery. Now this one, I decided I would try this tool called the Steve tool. Have any of you ever used that?
I haven't used it, I know of it.
Yeah, I love the Steve tool. And so then I just decided, well, I'm gonna spray on it. The Steve tool does something similar to what sodium silicate, kind of the same thing, where you make a cylinder, you run the tool, it's like a roller, and then you push from the inside out to like kind of expand the texture. This is another one that's going to be in the exhibit for Spectrum, the Spectrum exhibit. This is in Blue Spiral Gallery coming up in November. So, and this one's hand thrown, but it's vinyl work on hand thrown. I still will do that, but I won't do any slip casted pieces for galleries. Excuse me. So these are this is in a shop, Saratoga. Yeah, Saratoga Springs. So these are, I was doing a lot of color before, and I was like, why aren't people are attracted to it, but they're not always attracted to it. So I started playing around with black and white pieces. And there's people out there that just like the minimal black and white, and that actually sells quite well, you know. So I started doing more of that because, you know, there's both communities out there. I don't like color, you know, kind of. So I kind of, you know, making sure everybody's happy. This is that mid-century modern shape. And then this one is, which I really love this piece. And they look great when I'm doing big platters and stuff like that. This really takes on a life of its own. Here's something with the leaves on it, like those. Did you point even before I pointed? All right. I like little videos. I love social media, so this one's kind of fun. And go back. There we go. I like stuff like that. So all of this, you know, this one's, is this a video? Yeah. So all of these are, I was reading a Chuck Close book. Do you guys know Chuck Close, the artist? And I was reading a Chuck Close book, and I was like, I got really inspired by it. So I did these pieces, which took months, all these little squares, and using wax resist and vinyl resist, and in layers and layers and layers. I probably fired these 7 times, misfired these 7 times. And then there was this show that I got pulled into called the Kaleidoscope Project that was at, well, that just kind of fits, right? And this was for Bergdorf Goodman's in New York City. So, you know, Bergdorf Goodman, ho ho, you know, this is fancy, price it up a couple dollars. And, but these are without, I don't do portraits. So these are kind of inspired by Chuck Close without the portraits. And we were talking about, oh, this is a good one. I actually won this. You know who this is? Why can't, you know who the Blue Flowers are? She was here last year. Ruth, yes, yeah. She did with Kevin Snipes a workshop with him down at Greenwich House Pottery in the city, and they had some leftover demos, and they passed them around to the different studios for auctions. And I was fighting with a guy in, I guess he was in St. Louis. He was trying to online buy this one, and I was like, I outbid myself. I wanted it so bad. So that I have at home. And then this is some of the hand stuff, hand painted. This is all wax resist. There's no vinyl on this. This is all wax resist, painting, overlapping colors. Same as what I do today, except for this is all brushstroke work. And where you see the white stripes, this is wax resist. And then I would wax resist like the trail that comes down. I would just use wax resist dots and paint over top of that. This is layers upon layers of color. And I didn't even know. I had this out there on my website. I didn't know who bought it. And then I found out because she sends an email every couple of weeks or once a month. And she's in Dallas. She's one of the biggest ceramics collectors in the US. Do you know who this is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I got onto her, subscribed to her email list, and I'm like, look what? I'm like, what are you doing with that?
Wow.
Yeah, so
So what-
she has a couple of pieces of mine, actually.
What's your painting style? I'm assuming it's abstract.
It was totally abstract. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not a child anymore, but I was a child of the 80s, you know, 90s, and so I went to the Corcoran School of Art in DC, where everybody was experimenting with doing anything they could on a piece of canvas. That includes pouring bleach on it or peeing on it, you know, I mean, trying everything to make an abstract piece of work. And so that's where all my painting happened. And so somebody asked me if I would do this on canvas and have them behind, you know, the pieces, which I thought about, and I was like, that could be kind of cool to have like this one with a blue, similar type of painting behind it, you know? Oh, and then this. So, this was do you know the story? Oh, okay. You were smiling. I thought you knew my secret already. This is actually a leopard print. So, but when you take that, and this is vinyl. So I found a leopard print, and I have them in the program here, really, really small. But when you enlarge some of the vinyl shapes, they take on a different look. So I did a whole series of these, and I called it Conversations with Extraterrestrials, because it looks like an extraterrestrial alphabet. So I did a whole bunch of those, which was really fun. People really enjoyed that. And then I did like a whole Pride series for the Clay Arts Center in Rochester, New York. This is another one that I did. This is all wax and underglazes. And a lot of my pots, I don't know where they are, you know, but this one I do. And it was funny enough that old high school friend of mine actually purchased this, and which I thought was really cool. We're not very close, but it was cool nonetheless. You guys recognize this guy, right? Oh, and this one, this is a combination of wax and vinyl. So I'll explain. So I add the color on. The color initially underneath is yellow and orange. Then I put the trailing pieces, and the circles are all vinyl. And you can see the little alien alphabet still on there. I mix that in. And then I spray the whole thing red, and I bisfire it. Right? And take the vinyl off, of course. And then I bisfire it. But the black dots come afterwards. So the black dots, I put more vinyl on, place those black dots on. I wax over top of those black dots, or the vinyl, I wax over top of the vinyl. That leaves this area without any wax on it, and I paint them black. And then I bisfire it a second time. So there's a lot of layering that I like to do. Even after I've done the vinyl and I've done the color, I will go back and add more vinyl and more color. And you know, it's always a constant experiment. Huh?
Do you find in the multiple firings, do any of your underglazes change color or run or move?
Not at all, no. I've fired pieces 7, 8 times, and I bisfired them. Yeah, and I've never.
Before you put the final glaze on?
Before I put the final glaze on. Yeah. I've not gotten any cracks or anything like that. This is slip cast porcelain. When I throw and I do stuff for gallery, I do that in stoneware, white stoneware. Let's see if there's any other examples. Oh, this one's fun. So this is the same process. This is a vinyl process, but this is wood-fired. This is the only wood-fired piece that I got out of that wood firing that I really, really just will never let go. It's not getting sold. I will never put it up for sale. I just like, this is the one. It might be the last one. But and that is all flashing slip. There's no glaze on there. Well, and it's kind of a glaze, but. Anything else? I've got tons of, I think these are from, yes. This is wood, I was testing Amico underglazes for wood firing. So here are your examples of what works, right? Oranges work really good. Some of these in the back didn't turn out so well. I don't think that I have the final ones. I might, no, I don't. Here's my baby that I no longer have. This was another solar flare. I call these solar flare just because they felt like it. Same thing. These are at Companion Gallery, I think. Fun little cups. And then this was a Paul Smith piece. So this is wax and color, that's it. Everything's sprayed white underneath. That's where the white, I still like white popping out from underneath all the color and showing in certain spots. When I did this for Paul Smith, they contacted me, it was during COVID, so it was weird. But they were still opening up a shop in Soho, a brand new shop, and it was their 50th anniversary for their shop. And they were grabbing different artists, local artists in New York City to celebrate their 50th anniversary and paying homage to what Soho used to be, was a place where artists used to be. It's not that anymore. It's hard to be an artist in New York now, or in Manhattan. But they sent me all the swatches for all the clothing. So I took all the underglazes that matched and I mixed some and made a bunch of pots that were displayed and for sale in the Paul Smith shop. So Paul Smith called me himself. And I think he emailed me, just like West Elm. West Elm sent me a message and I was like, delete. I was like, I'm being punked. And then they finally emailed me, and then that's when I knew it was real. So I didn't believe it at first. Different colors. Photographing my work, I used to use a shooting tent, like a giant shooting tent, because I needed something for big pieces. I no longer use a shooting tent. I sold all of that stuff. I now use an AI program, and that adds the background in for you, takes any, I can shoot this cup right in my hands, and it would remove anything around it, and you can just take any AI background and apply it, and it shows your cup, and it does all of the shadows, and it looks like it's an actual photograph.
Is that photo room?
It is photo room. Did I talk to you about that?
No, I've used it though.
You've used it?
Yeah.
Yeah, photo room's great. So I've been able to, I had like a 24 shooting tent that would take up the whole table in my studio. And I was able to get rid of that.
I have to say, pieces like this, to me, there's so much visual depth in that piece. I mean, with the way the colors are and everything else, there's like another dimension there that you put in. I mean, I'm just amazed at that.
Yeah.
Great.
This one might have the Eiffel Tower in the back.
No, I mean,
I know one of them did.
yeah. But the pottery piece itself, I mean, again, just the colors in that piece.
Yeah, the colors, well, that's...
You know, it looks almost like an eyeball with the black around.
Right, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. I see that. It's another, these are little cups, just ovals. Those sold really well. You know, they're very simple. But just with all the color, you can see that there's no black on the inside of these. I just can't stand seeing a little haze of black on the inside of these. I want to see that color. So it's,
Are you just very careful when you're spraying?
I'm spraying upwards. I'm down below. And I'm spraying so the spray comes up this way and not into the opening. Bowls, cups. I'll show you the old way. Let's go down a little further.
When did you start with the vinyl?
With the vinyl, probably about 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's recent.
These are hand painted. Stuff like that. That's all wax resist, hand painted.
But you're not doing canvas anymore, right?
I'm not painting on canvas. This is my canvas.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I figured.
This one was fun. I love this piece. I kind of wish I never sold it, but the person I sold it to is so freaking cool. So he's a streaming DJ. So he has his turntables up on the table, and he has my vase sitting right in the middle. And like when he's like spinning on his table, he's got this vase sitting up there with his cat running around. So I was just like, dude, come on, he's really cool though. He's a fun guy. I'm trying to find the old wax resist stuff that I did because I know it's on here. Like this is old West Elm stuff. Here's a vinyl. Here's interesting vinyl stuff. What was I doing? I was at some residency. Oh, no. I was teaching a workshop. And in the workshop, one of the people taking the workshop worked for the New York Historical Society. And they asked me if I wanted to be a part of an exhibit there. So I said, yeah. Well, the exhibit was not of my work, but the exhibit was of a black potter that was missed as being a black potter. His name was Thomas Comerall. And I don't know if you've seen the show, it's traveled around the country, but Thomas Comerall was a freed slave that was in New York, had his own pottery down along the East River, and they found that because of the census, they had spelt his name wrong, like he was French, and he wasn't. So somehow they did the research, the New York Historical Society found out that he was, in fact, a black potter in New York City. And so when they found that out, they asked me if I wanted to get involved with the project for this exhibit. And so what I pitched to them is that, well, I will have let's have work of mine. They asked me to have work of mine in their gift shop during the exhibit time. So I said, well, what if Thomas Comerall was alive today? How would his work have transitioned into the 20th century, 21st century? And so his pots were like big containers that held, alcohol and food and meat, those big pots. They were typically white and salt fired and blue cobalt leaves and designs on them. And some of them had the dates and names, some of them did not. And so I said, well, let me modernize Thomas Comerall and his work, take the same leaves and arches that he has in his work and invert the colors. And I used vinyl to do that. And this was one of the plates that I had during that exhibit, which is really, it was just a whole lot of fun. Not to mention it was an awesome experience. And they filmed me. So I was part of the exhibit as well. They had a film going at the exhibit, and so they came in and filmed me throwing on the wheel because, hey, they needed some brown hands on the wheel. So it's true. I don't care. It was okay. But it was, and this is his pieces right here. And this is actually the video. We don't need to watch the video. This is another video. This is all from the exhibit. Okay, back to me finding the old me. Here's a plate. All right, so this plate and this cup and that mug and this cup and that candle and that lidded jar and this vase and that vase and then back to the plate. These pieces were all painted, sprayed with color, and then each dot is a paintbrush dot of wax resist. So I was doing and lining them all up, so you can see how it still has this organic feel to it, which I still really like. But I wanted to crisp it up and make them cleaner. But these are all dot, 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 dot. Now you talk about something driving you a little mad. That was it. That was it. But they still, I still like them. I still enjoy this organic feel about them. And if you're interested in those, they're in Companion Gallery. All right, getting down to old stuff. Do I have any other questions? This is that process with the wax dots before they're fired and before the top colors is laid on. So you can see the paint swipes underneath, the wax over top. Good? No other questions? No?
We thank you.
Thank you. All right.
For moving here.
Yeah, for moving here. All right. Thank you, guys. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to this new chapter in my life. And yeah, after 30 plus years in Brooklyn, it was, It was time. Yeah, it was time. I almost couldn't afford Brooklyn anymore. I was being priced out. So, but thank you all for coming today. And I hope you enjoyed learning about the process. And, thank you.